Hello, my most amazing artists. Today we're going to keep working on our singing portraits. And last week in class, we actually got further than I thought we would. So you are just a smidge behind, but I have no worries, you'll catch up because this is going to be pretty quick. So like I said last week, we're going to be doing like a combination with Miss Labarge. And you'll need to, when you finish this with me, keep it somewhere safe because I'm not sure when Miss Labarge is going to bring this out to have you finish doing your music. So we are going to kind of finish things up today, hopefully. So you drew your singing portrait, you outlined it in Sharpie, and then I want you to get your oil pastels or crayons, and I want you to color your portrait. So we colored with oil pastels, we used the peachy color for our skin tone, and there's not a lot of colors for hair. And then if you had room for clothes, color your clothes. If you want to use crayons because you have more variety of colors, that's great. Remember, boys, you probably don't have hair, so it's just a peachy skin and some clothes. The back of the mouth, we did use a Sharpie in class, going really carefully with our Sharpie to watch our teeth too. If you want to use a crayon, you can do that as well. Don't use just a regular Crayola marker for this step because we're about to do something that's going to kind of negate that. So once you've colored this, we're going to do our final step, and we're going to create a border with a marker, and hopefully it's one of the Crayola markers. We don't want a permanent marker. You'll need your fat paintbrush, and you'll need some water. So we're going to turn marker into paint today. So when we're using our marker, you're probably going to want to put something underneath your table because we're going right to the edge. Now, I'm not too worried about my desk at school, but if you're using a table at home, you might want to put something underneath it to protect it. So what you're going to do is, remember we talked about this before, your marker has a tip and it's like a cone, right? So we want to go on our side to make a thickest line possible. We don't be on our tippy top, on the point, we want to be on our side. So when you're all done coloring, and your coloring should be nice and smooth, it should feel waxy because that's going to resist anything we're going to do. We're going to start making our border. Now we're going to press on the side, and if you do it really careful, you get a nice thick line. We don't want the line on our person. So do a nice, and that was just one thing. So I'm going to do it twice because I kind of want a thick border. So I'm going to overlap those two lines, and it doesn't have to be even. Sometimes it's kind of fun for it to be a little wobbly. So I like the look of 2. Maybe you want 3, it's up to you. I'm going to turn my paper so it's easier to work with. And I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom border. I'm going to go slow, so use the side of that marker, go nice and slow and straight across. If it's easier for you to come down vertically than horizontally, do that. I'm just going to touch up where I didn't get it. I'm getting it on my desk and I'm not worried about it because I know baby wipe will take care of it. I'm going to do 2 rows. As best I can. Mine wobbled a little bit. That's okay. And when they overlap, they kind of are darker. We just want to make sure it's nice and thick. And we're going to do this to all 4 sides. So we're going to go slow as best you can. Oops, I kind of went up a little bit. That's easy to fix. I can fix that white paper. I'm going to do a second one, overlapping it just a smidge. And see, I left a white spot. I'm not too worried about it. I can go back and fix that. Okay. It can be a little wobbly. That's okay. So what we want to do is we're framing our picture. And I said Miss Labarge is going to have you write your song that you wrote with her on music stanzas or measures or whatever you call them in the middle. But I don't like just the plain white. You know I can't leave things plain white. So right here we have pretty much a neat border, okay? This is what we're going to do. It's kind of like magic. You're going to take some water and your bigger paintbrush, and you're going to get your paintbrush really wet. And washable marker can become watercolor. So I want to show you a trick. I'm starting at the top, or you can start at the side. It's up to you. I'm just going to wet or paint right underneath. And do you see what's happening? All I do is take some water, and I'm painting water right underneath my marker, and it's kind of bleeding a little bit. I'm going to do it this side too, and do you see it's coming out? And then I'm going to carefully paint it to the edge. It's going to be really soft, but it works really cool. So I'm going to show you how I did that again. I'm painting right on top of my marker, and I'm using just clear water to keep bringing it down. Okay, now the edges are going to be darker than the middle. So I'm just going to wet that edge and activate that marker, and I can paint the whole thing, and I'm just going to kind of bring it up. You want to keep your paint going in like the same direction as your marker sometimes, but really start bringing it up. So I'm going to just really lots of water. It's lots of water, and I'm going to start bringing it down and up kind of together. So I'm going to reactivate that marker at the top here. This is puddles I'm talking, guys. Puddles of water, and see it comes down into it. This is one of my coolest things. I love how water and color kind of just bleeds. You're just really kind of painting with the clear water, and it's going to pick up and move that color of the marker. It looks really cool. It's kind of like it's almost on fire, or it's kind of bleeding a little bit. I just love it. It's one of my favorite techniques we do with watercolor, but this is with marker. So if you've always wanted to paint with marker, here's your chance. So this is going to be really wet, and what you can do now is once your marker is kind of all hydrated and moving around, you can kind of mess with it. I got a drop here and it made a mark. That's okay. You can just kind of soften your edges if you want to and bring that color up into your picture. We don't want a lot of dark color because we want this to dry and look really cool. So then we don't need to forget this little area over here by this edge. We want to activate that and paint. And so if you use that oil pastel, I can paint right over it and it's not doing anything to my picture. So you might lose your border and it's going to bleed a little bit because it got a little wet here. You can kind of take your paintbrush and move those puddles around. If you have too much water, you can get a paper towel and kind of soak it up. So this is our last step, and it's kind of a messy step, and I know it doesn't look like I have anything painted here, but it kind of is. So just kind of play around and just kind of push that water, and that's the last one. The color you choose is totally up to you. In class, my rule is you can't use the same color as your shirt or your hair. So I picked something different. Once this is all dried, it might buckle a little bit. So you might want to put it underneath something to flatten it out. If it's all dried and you don't like how your border has missing spots, when it's all dry, you can go back and redraw that border if you want to. Again, you don't have to, it's just something you can do. So this has a lot of water on it, so I would leave it where it's at for a little bit, unless you kind of blot it with a paper towel before you move it. And when you move it, you want to move it very careful to somewhere nice. So once this is painted and dried, go ahead and snap a picture for your project. I'm just kind of moving puddles around because that's how Mrs. Cole likes it. But you figure out what you like. It's a really neat effect. I think you're going to have fun with it. Have fun painting with markers. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.